Hey, how are you?
Very much O and just a touch G.
just
Plenty
a
of
tiny
O.
bit.
That's us. Thank you. Thank you for having
Yes,
us.
thanks
It's
for having
exciting to be here.
Yeah. Sergi, can I interrupt you? Copman3 says he can't hear you. I can hear you.
Speak from the diaphragm.
Like he can hear you, but he's just not hearing you right now.
Yeah. It's not understanding you. It's just a ploy.
Maybe he just refuses once we're announced as guests. Sometimes it's gone.
I'm assuming everyone else is okay. Man, can't have nice things.
Mm-mm. It's 2020. We don't do nice things.
It's just a dumpster fire.
Is it?
John, it's not you this time.
It's not.
Okay, can everyone else hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we could hear you the whole time.
Okay.
We weren't the problem.
No.
Yeah.
We could turn it into a game, have everyone else guess what you're saying.
We'll just dub it.
This is only the second or third time this has happened.
Yeah. Comment
okay.
says
And you
We've
guys-
lost entire episodes before and had to re-record them, so we feel your pain.
oh yeah, I've forgotten to record the beginning.
There's something really soul-sucking about having the exact same conversation again, especially when it's a slow news week.
Right?
And you're like,
It was
Well,
already
let's-
boring enough to do it the first time.
You're right.
talk about Memphis Nest one more time.
Okay. Success.
To catch
Carry
everyone
on.
up, we did the normal intro spiel of what the HNN is. Main headline, though, is that we have our special guest, the other Sean, and Uncanny Mr. H from the Galactic War Report. They made a joke about being an original but not gangster. And we have kit reveals for Queel and IG-11. And then Sarah was rudely interrupting me,
Yes.
and now you're all caught up.
It's what I do.
But I guess it was relevant. It was
Yeah.
to make sure that people could hear me. That's fair.
It was important.
Yeah. Okay. So, we don't know how long it'll take to answer fan questions and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And since there's 4 of us, the kit reveals could run long. So we could just go over a little bit of highlights with them, like real brief talk on IG-11 or Queel.
Yeah.
I think I speak for both me and John when I say that while we've had the kits for a while to kind of look over, we probably don't understand them like we're supposed to. So
I mean, maybe we
a
don't.
quick once over seems appropriate.
Yeah.
Do you guys like going over to kits?
Yeah, we do it.
We do overviews because, again, in the audio medium, us just reading to people doesn't always come across great.
I do a blind read. So I will not read it until we do the show. And I made an exception. I did read them today because I didn't want to bore you with my antics.
We do it to each other, so it works.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So I have read them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I see a
thank
lot of potential for both of them. I think they're interesting in that, one thing that I kind of talked about when I talked to CG a while ago about them is that when new characters come out, often they're shoehorned into one squad. And like some prime examples, like Night Sisters, they're all going to be on one team with the few exceptions where you borrow one. Phoenix, I'm trying to think of other squads like that. The solo team when it came out, Old Republic, that kind of stuff. It's always that faction together. This, it's much more open to experimentation, I think, to me. Both of these characters.
Yeah.
So I like that. You say, based on your resources, you can only afford to really kind of put resources into one of them. Okay, you can get a lot of use out of just one.
Right.
Yeah.
Just depends on the squad.
Yeah. Jumping off of that, when I was reading Quill's kit, this might not be the best idea, but when I got to his first special, he inflicts expose if the enemy already had burned, and my first thought was, JTR team with R2.
Yeah.
And I was like, that might not be a good idea, but that was like my first.
No, that's definitely passed through my brainwaves as well. Like the playing off of that burning with R2 is huge. And
he's not inflicting exposed, right? Because that's a big thing for Rey, right? I have her, but I've used her like twice.
Yeah. Although without Queel being resistance himself, even giving expose isn't going to make him great.
I don't think it'll make him great per se. I was thinking more along the lines of like the R2 getting some like turn meter going and all that, making it more of a controlling team, controlling
to say
enemy.
That Queel will do well with any light side droid focused team, I think is fair.
Yeah.
Whether a voltaic shot is going to be the one that gets the engine going,
right?
Probably less guaranteed. I think that each one's going to do great in certain situations, but really they're a pair, right? The two of them can go into any kind of situation together with IG-11 and Queel, and you'll find a good place for them.
I'm curious, like I'm the worst theory crafter known to man, but I'm curious about his
second worst
potential. And correct me if I'm wrong, if there's some glaring reason why he wouldn't work there, but in the Jedi Training Rey Phase 1 Sith Raid team, I could almost see him replacing 3PO in that, working with that burning and making sure that stuff gets exposed so that turn meter is constantly suppressed. He's also inflicting slow. I mean, I know like Supreme Leader Kylo makes that raid kind of pointless anyways, but I don't have that Galactic Legend, so
me neither.
I could see me potentially getting some use out of that.
As our show's resident raid theory crafter, I like the thought, but really anything that's not resistance isn't going to work with the Jedi Rey team. Jedi Training Rey. Just because so much of it is built on the team gaining turn meter from exposes. Like,
I guess so.
Even if you try to put Watt in there or whatever good character has already been tried, even slower characters like OG Finn on the squad will outpace them 2 or 3 turns to 1 just because of the exposes.
And that's where I think these, especially Queel, but also IG-11 lesser, because all of his synergy is with scoundrels and droids.
Yeah.
And I think you really got to find something in those pretty wide categories to make it work best.
I think one exciting combination, speaking of scoundrels and droids, is Chupio. The potential with him, like say IG-11, Chupio, even under a under a CLS lead or something with Han and Chupio, and I guess Chewie maybe for the other, because you've got, all those are scoundrels aside from CLS.
Yeah.
Who, okay, fine. CLS doesn't necessarily need all the help in the world. So that could be an interesting fifth for that squad too.
Yeah, for sure. I like what you said, Sean, about how these Mando characters don't seem like they need to be together to do well.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot with, not just another prepackaged, here's 5 characters to throw together, but they each of them do well with the group that their tags go towards.
Yeah.
And they weren't a team in the show, so they shouldn't be a team in the game.
Yeah, true. I don't see the actual 5 Mando characters as a team being an ideal comp at all.
Right.
It's interesting because there are a lot of people who are actually upset about that. Like they really wanted this pack of 5 to work well together. In particular, there's a group of people who are big bounty hunter fans who were somehow hoping that IG-11 in particular was going to get the bounty hunter tag, but that wasn't though.
That one's questionable. That one I can see where they're arguing that.
Yeah, and
I get it, but
I still view him as a bounty hunter droid. So when I read that he had a healer tag, I was like, okay, I see what they're doing.
But see, that's pre-reboot. His whole hard drive has been wiped. So
yeah. Yeah.
He's not even the same droid anymore.
No. Although it is funny, when I was reading their kit reveals, I'm like, who works best with Queel? And I saw IG, and my brain definitely went to 86 for some reason. And I
forgot about 86.
I'm very confused by 86. They resurrected him off the scrap heap for some reason.
Yeah.
Almost 5 years since he was meta.
Yeah.
Remember when he was amazing because he had an assist?
Only a 2-turn cooldown.
Yeah, I know. You don't even pick.
Yeah, me and Sean, I don't remember at one point we were talking up, we were praising IG-86 somewhere in mid 2016.
Yep. And he does have a really cool looking shot too, though.
Well, yeah.
Stand up straight, gun down.
What more could you want?
No, right? So Queel is
he's a support
scoundrel who really helps out with droids. His basic is the first basic to give burning. His special's pretty good. That it's just a 2-turn cooldown. So every other turn he can do this full take shock, where he stuns an enemy, gives them speed down and shock for 3 turns. Stun 1 turn, speed down and shock for 3 turns. And then if the target already had burning from his basic or R2, then he'll also inflict expose for 2 turns.
For what it's worth, he has a really good base potency too. He's got a 58%.
It's going to be a question. Yeah, nice.
So he'll be throwing that around pretty reliably.
Nice.
Yeah, and if they already have shock, he just gives shock to someone who didn't have it.
Yeah, for 3 turns,
which is nice.
So you put him on that
That's
Palpatine.
Nice.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could though. You could. Because I mean, that is one of the better synergies.
You could. I mean, it's definitely an option.
Not great, but
it's a thing that could be done. Yeah.
It's nice to see Shock leave the Sith faction and be used by somebody.
True.
Yeah.
His other special is I Have Spoken.
Of course.
Perfect. They needed to reference that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
This one has a cooldown of 4. It'll heal your... All allies will heal health and protection equal to 20% of Queel's max health and protection. Doubled for Scoundrel and Droid allies. So now we've got, I want to say, our first droid healer, droid protection healer. So that's pretty good.
Think so? Yeah.
Not to mention somebody else that can, you know, if you wanted to pair him with the bounty hunters, they're all scoundrels. So he can give some protection regen.
You could, yeah.
Scoundrel allies. Go ahead. Interrupt anytime. I'm just reading off kit.
No, I think it's impressive that he heals health and protection.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot. And 40% if you're a scoundrel or a droid.
That's huge.
No, I think we did ask him when we talked to CG that you don't get it doubled if you're a scoundrel and a droid. You don't get 80%.
Which
It's
is
not-
Oh, right.
You don't.
Not like Vader's speed boost where he counts himself twice or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was, I want my Kira team to be A+, so unfortunately that is not the case.
Someone at CG needs to realize that before they had some kind of new hire shift change on who writes the stuff, when you write it this way, it used to mean they'd get both bonuses. You can't just one day say, well, now it just means one or the other.
Yeah, it's interesting because even though it's a video game, a lot of the kit reveals and stuff like that, you have to read it like an RPG or a tabletop game.
Yeah.
And I played too many of those to not read that as meaning, oh, they get it twice.
Yeah. Now, the other part of that move, it's not just a heal. Scoundrel allies will gain 25% turn meter. But the main thing is he'll give all Scoundrel and light side droids mechanics savvy for 2 turns. So for 2 turns, Scoundrels will gain a bunch of stuff to help them deal more damage. Droids will gain more offense. And while they have this buff and they die, they'll instantly be revived with 80% of their max health and 80% of their max protection.
See, I think, well, one, for the Scoundrels, it says plus 40% crit damage and defense penetration. But there's a comma. So I don't know if it means...
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's confusing. They get 40% defense penetration?
Or is it just they get defense penetration?
I don't know. And for the droids, I don't know what order that's going to interact with things like Vandor Chewie's revive.
Right.
Oh, right.
Which is automatic. I don't know which one is it going to revive them from that, or is it going to pull his prepared and revive them from that, and then they keep mechanic savvy? Who knows?
Good question.
It could be a matter of what order you have them into in your lineup. So that affects things like revive and all that kind of stuff, or his
Sister Zombies.
Right.
Revive, yeah.
Right. So still a lot of questions there.
Yeah. That's a good catch.
What is big about that move, though, is that he doesn't then have to do anything to revive these people. Kind of like Vandor Chewie you brought up. Once he's got prepared, he doesn't need to get a turn to use a move and waste it on a revive or anything. Just they're revived, and not just with. I can't remember what Snow Bro Han is.
It's like at 1 unless they're a rebel.
Yeah, then it's 50% or something.
Yeah.
This is 80% health and 80% protection.
That's not even a Zeta. That's not even an Omega, is it? It's just what it is.
It's just there.
Yeah.
And again, my mind always goes to this Kira team. But
I think this is your chance. I think that this
for sure
is a character that is actually going to breathe some life into Kira.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Kira, Van Chewie, L3, and then these 2 doofuses.
But I like the Enfys Nest option too.
Nest instead of who, though?
Yeah.
I don't care. I love Enfys Nest.
Agreed.
I'm dying for a reason to relic Enfys Nest. So
I think I did already. I don't remember. But the thing is that part of the problem with that team, because I've tried to use it many times, is that in order for Vandor Chewie to become prepared, he has to have lost some protection and regain it back to 100%. And then he becomes prepared. And then if somebody dies, he loses prepared and he reses them. But the problem is he gets it back very slowly as part of his kit. With this, that'll get him back to full protection much quicker. Which means he will be ready to res more often. Plus, with mechanic savvy, he'll be resing he'll be able to do it for the non-droids more often since they'll be covered by mechanic savvy, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Do it for the Scoundrels.
Which would really just be Kira, and he can't do it for himself.
Right.
But other than that.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, John, on these teams, you need someone to do damage.
I'm aware. And that's the problem.
Someone has to actually kill the other team.
And that's the problem, even with Nest. Nest doesn't really do damage.
Or could this be
not
like
outstanding.
A really good timeout kind of team?
Right.
Which is what Kira was always good for.
I've had luck with the Kira team with Nest in it. in GAC for on and off, but this would definitely help if I got nowhere else to put him.
Right.
Now, if those
Let timeout.
if those abilities weren't enough, he's got a unique, his Frontier Wisdom. And this one is pulling into their recent theme of just throwing a character in that boosts the stats of everybody. Not a leader, just, like with Kiadamundi, if anyone ever gets to unlock him in 7-star him.
I have 100% forgotten what that character does.
I just know that it's got 2 stances.
Yep, that's exactly, yeah.
But are you sure?
The whole draw of Cam was that these useless Jedi, he'd give like 60% bonus max health, 60% offense and stuff from a unique, not his leadership.
Yeah.
So what we have here is that other scoundrel and droid allies gain 40% of Quill's max health, max offense, max potency, and until the first time he's defeated, max 40% of max protection. So at the start of battle, L3, who is already tanky, like let's say you relicked her 150 something protection and health together. Boom, an extra 40% of Quill's stats.
Well, and again, order of operations here. If you put R2 on a team with him with number crunch,
they're
going to be bouncing off each other. I don't know who improves whose before whose improves whose.
Right.
If he gives 40% to R2, who then gives 10% back to everybody, that's pretty big.
Yeah. I like it. I don't know how you guys feel about this new trend that they're having, but as long as it's in moderation, I'm okay with one tune that helps boost a squad.
I am. I like that option, being able to kind of share ability and strengths and stuff. I only get cheesed when it turns into teams that time out.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you gave everyone 500% health, so of course I couldn't kill anyone,
Yeah.
I've always personally just had a thing, and do I use that tactic? You better believe I use that tactic, but I do it begrudgingly.
Yeah.
I like it because there was a time everybody had a leader ability, and that was the only way to really affect changing the whole squad.
Right.
And so I like the idea, like Quill doesn't do much on offense, right? He has some debuffs that'll trigger other things, and that's great. But his whole shtick is that he's a support character.
Yeah.
And not all of it has to be activated, which is nice.
And I think like with how they did this, they did it in a way that makes him bring some maybe like lesser used characters back into the game and levels everybody up in a way, but it's not going to break anything either.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like
I think Kira is not just someone that will work with this character, but it kind of reminds me of those early Kira builds. And in that it's a really fun team. It's really good at certain things. It's not going to be the meta.
Exactly.
And that's how I feel about Quill and IG-11.
Yeah.
I assume. I could be wrong, because like I said, my theory crafting is like,
I'm prepped if that's the case.
Yeah,
I see them being like 3PO and Chewie, where they take a Han and OG Chewie squad to the next level, but just adding another person assisting. I think this is just going to help take one of these Galactic or Grand Arena teams to the next level.
Agreed. They'll see a lot of play in Grand Arena and in Territory War, I think.
Well, my Kira, L3, and Vandor are all at Relic 5, so I'm ready.
I think the factor of how much we'll see them, I guess, is going to be kind of determined by the abundance of counters.
Right.
Like, I mean, there's certain teams that are good at things, but like
others that get beat by Jawas.
Exactly. Like Old Republic, Karth is a great example. Like it's a cool team and it's fun. The mechanics are interesting. It's effective. But like you look at like the SWGOH counters page and there's like 4 rows of things that can counter it.
Right.
So
I've never found something that doesn't counter it.
I know.
I've wanted to try to lose to it. I never managed it. Yeah. The thing is, the whole point for me, at least, when I'm building a team like this that uses off-brand characters to try and do something in GAC is to make them use a good team, if not a great team, to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have to pull a gas to do it because he prevents like all reses.
You said pull a gas. If that's what it takes to win the battle.
If I gotta use gas to win a battle, that's a win.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. So if my Kira team can make him use somebody passable, that's a win.
Yeah. And then the rest of that unique, because that's not even some of the best parts.
Oh yeah. We haven't even gotten to the best part. Yeah.
When Queel inflicts shock, droid allies recover 20% protection.
Mm-hmm.
So when Queel uses his every other turn voltaic shot move, that's also a 20% heal to all of protection to all droids on the team. And if he
think about an L3 that keeps just constantly getting 20% protection.
I like it.
And if he targets the same character that already has shock, give shock to a different one, then that one move is putting 40% protection recovery for light side droids.
I mean, I like it.
Not mad about it.
And then
that might be. I can see myself being very mad about it.
And then finally, we get a mention of IG-11, his little buddy that he taught how to walk. When an allied Queel and IG-11 are alive, they both have plus 10% health steal and plus 30% potency. On top of the high base potency, as you guys mentioned. And then Queel can't be critically hit or stunned. And whenever IG-11 is critically hit, he recovers 20% protection. So Queel gets a built-in guard ability, like Chewie does to Han. And the tanking, taunting IG-11, every time you critically hit him, try and whittle down his health, he's getting 20% protection back.
So these two are scoundrels, as are Han and Chewie.
Yeah.
So if you can manipulate it so that guard doesn't go on Queel.
Right.
Oh.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can make it go on IG-11 so that nobody's getting critically hit or stunned. There's probably nothing to it, but it sounds very amusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like where you're thinking, but that's a good segue into talking about IG-11. Because you actually don't have to worry about stuns with IG-11. Because IG-11, let's go ahead and read his unique first. At the start of battle, IG-11 gains max protection equal to 20% of his max health. If Queel's an ally, he gains 40% max protection instead, or 40% of his max health as protection, and has a pre-taunt for 2 turns. Whenever another scoundrel or droid ally attacks during an enemy turn, IG-11 assists. So if you've got an ally countering, then IG-11 will assist with them. And then at the start of IG-11's turn, and here's the big part, he dispels all debuffs from droid and scoundrel allies. Period. Doesn't do anything, no chance about it. At the start of each of his turns, all debuffs go away on your team.
Pretty good.
For each debuff dispelled this way, he then inflicts a damage over time on a random enemy, which can't be evaded. Drop the mic.
Pretty good. pretty good. So he's a pre-taunting scoundrel tank healer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With an auto cleanse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Best cleanse in the game.
And assists if you counter.
Yeah, and that's why I'm thinking putting somebody like Nest or Han could be.
Yep. Very good points. Yep.
Pretty.
Yeah.
But again, we don't know how hard he hits on basic.
Good question. Yeah, we don't have the stats or anything.
What's interesting about this as I look, random menus can be evaded. So at the start of his turn, he's going to be putting dots on everybody, right? On a bunch of people. And then his basic, if everybody's debuffed on the enemy team, he recovers 20% protection. So you're going to want debuffs on everybody over there somehow.
Yeah.
I just thought of, in my head while reading it, like, what if you're fighting Fallen Bastilla Sean? You know, she floods your team with 10 debuffs each. And then as soon as IG-11 takes a turn, floods all of Bastilla Sean's squad with 10 damage over times.
Well, I guess it depends on if you're fighting just a Bastilla team or not. But against like Tarth Revan and Malik team, because everyone you put back, it's going to give them ferocity, right?
Stuns and ability blocks give them ferocity. Not just debuffs in general. I think it's stuns and ability block.
I didn't have them unlocked, so I can't even look on my GG to tell you.
Is this team just something occurring to me here? Are they just going to get smoked by a Treya team?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm looking at it like all those assists, like IG-11's going to just kill himself right off the bat.
Right.
They don't rely on any debuffs. I mean, sure, fear's good, but
I guess it depends, right? Like if you're the player is using Treya, then maybe. But it's also,
well, that's what I'm thinking is if someone sets this as a defense,
right,
I feel like Treya,
because the AI is not going to be smart enough to, because they'll isolate IG-11, which means he won't be assisting at all.
Right.
Which is also okay, you know. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much that assisting during an enemy turn, when one of your allies attacks out of turn, I don't know how often that'll be in play unless you specifically add counter characters on your team.
Nest, I think, is the only one that comes to mind that's gonna. Oh, Han.
Yeah, and Han.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters you just kind of have a small counter chance, and it's pretty negligible.
Or even Chewie. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, it's out there.
Huh.
Yeah.
But again, without knowing how hard he hits, I think the bigger point is that his basic does damage to his target and to the weakest enemy. So it's a double shot, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he recovers protection if everybody's debuffed. So I'm inclined to think that the protection recovery is going to be bigger.
Yeah.
Than the actual damage on all those assists, but
right, he gets that protection boost at the start too.
Yeah.
Plus what Queel gives.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for these characters. As somebody who uses a lot of scoundrels and a lot of droids, I'm here for it.
Good, that's good.
And babies in baskets, that's all good to me.
Did you notice? Do you like see the animations?
Oh yeah.
Like that whole spiel they gave about needing to upgrade the Unity framework, all the behind the scenes stuff for the game.
Now you know why.
Yeah. All that.
It's for the child.
It's worth it.
For the child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the little duck in the first special. Like,
wait, there's a duck?
Well, the act of ducking where he ducks into the basket. Yeah.
Oh
this duck just walks across.
I literally thought there was a duck.
There's a duck in the game.
Just fall over dead.
Oh,
no. The baby ducks into the basket. And it's just such a nice little touch they add.
I almost wish he was just like constantly looking at you.
Oh yeah,
Just like waving at you. You know?
Nerving,
just watching.
Like, I just don't want to finish this battle.
Those paintings.
And that's when he breaks your game and gives you the force restart, error code.
I definitely do want to try this behind a Lobot lead, though.
Yes, I thought of that too.
Oh,
Is Lobot a scoundrel?
Oh no, not Lobot. Never mind. I did not give Lobot another thought in the last 4 years. I wanted to try it with IG88 lead.
oh yeah, for sure.
okay.
Why you gotta hurt me like that? But here's the
Go
thing.
ahead. Yeah.
Lobot gains 5.5 speed for each living droid ally.
Well,
And
there's no end.
That's it.
That's the story.
He does give droid allies 25 speed.
He's not a scoundrel.
As a
I just
leader.
looked him up.
I know he's not. He's a rebel, though?
He should be a scoundrel. He's more of a scoundrel than he is a rebel.
Well, just remember that he's a rebel, but quite a few other people aren't.
so IG11's first special function protect. 3-turn cooldown. AoE damage. AoE tenacity down for 2 turns. Enemies with shock or damage over time are dealt damage a second time. And then IG11 taunts for 2 turns.
Tenacity down is a good one too, I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
Considering
AoE
you've got
tenacity down.
right, you're gonna have Queel benefiting off that. You're gonna have R2, BB8, all benefit. Well, no, I guess BB8 does tenacity down, so that's not helping. But
And he does counter a lot, though.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's true. That's very true. So I mean, that is a very good ability to have, and like the only thing that can't naturally be resisted unless it's one of those can't be resisted things.
Yeah. And then the next special, Nurse Droid Protocol, cooldown of 3. Target ally recovers health equal to 30% of IG11's max health, and all other allies recover half that amount. So very nice team heal. If IG11 is taunting, he gains health steal up and retribution for 2 turns. Droid and Scoundrel allies gain foresight for 2 turns. So on an average turn where IG11 does this, he first dispels all debuffs from everybody. So any heal blocks or stuns, whatever garbage, damage over times that you got, heals everybody, puts a foresight onto everybody.
Could be better.
It's okay.
It's a robot battle meditation.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then we already read the unique.
Yeah.
It's a good one too. I'll tell you, these 2 characters. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
It's not often that our off-brand factions get some love, you know.
Right? Light side droids?
Well,
right.
yeah, I just prefer when we don't have they don't hand us a brand new meta character, right? Like, as much as I enjoy my Galactic Legend, it's here you go, here's how you win, as opposed to here's some really good pieces to figure out something to do with.
Yeah. And the interesting thing with any character like this too is, as I mentioned, if there's a lot of different ways to use it, then there's a lot to consider outside of the team that you're building. Like, who are you pulling, and is it worth it to pull from one? Like, do I really want to pull BB-8 from my resistance team? I don't know. Is it worth putting these characters together? Now, some of them, like Enfys Nest, yeah, probably. I personally don't use her in a dominant way right now. I think Kira, sure, okay. I'm not doing big things with her, but like,
that's your fault.
Those other droids like R2, BB-8, even L3 to an extent, like where are they coming from, and is there a good way to backfill that? So
yeah, just
a consideration. It's something I'm going through right now with Jedi Knight Luke. I don't know what the heck to do with him. He's great, but like trying to make that Jedi Knight Luke team is, I I just keep waffling with it. So
Yeah.
Here's my pro tip for you, Sean. Use worse characters.
Yeah,
Never a problem.
I could.
Jedi Knight Guardian is wanting to be thrown in. Put me in, Coach. Put me in.
Eth Koth is waiting in the wings from when you grinded him before the tank raid.
Jedi Knight Guardian is my she serves a very important role for me because she is the green plus that I can tap on to make one of those holo projectors to turn into salvage.
Oh,
because I will never give it to her, so she's got that little plus.
That's young Han for me.
Yeah.
Your young Han isn't gear 12 at least?
No.
For shame.
For shame. For shame.
Oh,
Young Han
John,
is awesome.
You should see my first order roster. You'll put
but young Han has so much potential.
Yeah, protection up, gives other people protection. I've tried so hard to make him work, and it just
he can do a bunch of damage eventually.
Well, the first order can do quite a lot of damage too, I've heard.
I mean,
not mine.
Yeah,
they're all right.
Mine are so.
Should work on that.
Yeah.
On to the That's No Moon section, where we talk about the big topic. Obviously, the big one is that we are getting a big focus onto Mandalorian now, after not really knowing quite what the plan was for them, since we had Grief, Cara Dune, and Mando added to the game. But since you guys seem to be somewhat in the know, we wanted to know.
All right, up next is going to be. No.
You know how we stay in the know?
Right. So, hopefully, you don't have the inside information, so you can just give us your best educated guess.
Okay.
But what possible?
Then you can't get in trouble.
Yeah, there you go. What or we can guess it, and then you can just either be silent if we're right, or
blink twice.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But we want to know if you speculate that new Mando characters are coming, or what the Mandalorian legendary might be, if there is one.
Well, they've as much as said there's more season 2 stuff coming.
Yeah.
Right?
What it's going to be.
I mean, that was a direct question that we asked Crumb, and we didn't get a direct answer, but he's like, come on, guys, something's coming, essentially, like something's always, we don't release 5 characters.
Exactly. We now have 5.
Historically, you don't drop 5 characters and just let them,
especially
off
when
the pasture,
they said specifically that Queel and IG-11 are going to be on an accelerated schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, did they? I didn't
see that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I had forgotten that, but yes.
Don't scare me like that, Sean. Like I'm dropping information. I'm not supposed to.
No, they said that. I remember that.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't. I think you're in trouble.
Oh, I remember because Sig popped in with that too to confirm.
Yes, he did.
So you're not crazy.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's without getting into any season 2 spoilers, there's a character I'd like to see involved in that season for sure. There's I mean, they've got the big ones, so really at this point any additional, I joked on our last episode that I wanted to see, and I said Tracy Ullman's character when I meant Amy Sedaris's character. I got called out for it because I'm dumb, and I own that, but I still,
it's okay. I nodded and went along with it. So
I know I still kind of want to see that character.
It's really, all honesty, it's really Amy Sedaris doing her best Tracy Ullman impersonation.
It kind of is.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see Moff Gideon, and I've been very public about that with the devs and anybody who will listen, just because I'm an Imperial Trooper nerd.
Yeah.
And more Darksaber is better.
I think Moff Gideon is probably the front runner right now.
Or what?
Or Baby Yoda.
I don't think we're gonna get him as a standalone.
5 new Jawas.
Or
5 off-world
Yeah.
Jawas.
or oh no.
A 5-headed Jawa, where they
You're trying to save his brain right now by not giving a spoiler, Sarah. Is that
I
what you're trying
am.
to- yeah.
I did. I was like, oh.
I know you
Yeah.
wanted to.
Can't go there.
Yeah, there's like I'd love to see the armor, but she's in it so little. But I'd still love to see it. I want to see a flame trooper because they get a little more love in the end of season 1. Gideon, of course. I really want a scout trooper.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, Scout Trooper, the joking
would be-
ones. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying scout trooper in general, and them getting a little more screen time means maybe, but that's all I would want so far.
There's people who were talking about Bill Burr's character, which, all right, cool, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That whole squad was. I liked the episode, but like I don't feel like I
my
need
least
those
favorite
characters.
episode, just because I don't remember Twi'leks ever hissing as much as they do in that episode.
Yeah. Although I didn't mind it, I thought that was fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things.
I do.
My best educated guess is that with how slowly the new season is going to roll out, I don't, and with the way the cadence is for devs, I don't see anything season 2 related coming to the game yet. So I do think, so maybe Moff Gideon,
That's fair.
since he participated at the end of season 1, so people should know who he is just from that. So maybe him, but I really think it's just going to be the only main contenders, Moff Gideon and Baby Yoda. And then maybe in the future, season 2 stuff.
You're not
And
going to
the
see a Baby
Jawas,
Yoda standalone. You're just not.
No,
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so either.
100%.
They're not. I don't think Disney's gonna let us kill Baby Yoda.
No. I mean, if you like, I don't know if we talked about it before, but if you get like
That sounded like we're plotting. Let's just be clear. We're not plotting.
We have been hired by the remaining empire.
Right.
If there is like a Groot styled like teenage Yoda at some point,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
you might see that. But
Yes.
as long as the child is the child, I don't think you're going to see
No way.
see that going anywhere.
Yeah, because weren't they saying on your bonus episode they had, I can't remember which dev it was, so forgive me.
We don't know
went
either.
in, and they couldn't figure out what to do with IG-11 because they originally wanted him to self-destruct.
Yeah.
All right.
It was probably Miller, but who knows?
And then they were just like, well, just take self-destruct off, and then you don't have to worry about Baby Yoda self-destructing.
Oh
with
yeah,
him.
because Top Hat came in and amazed the room. I pitched when we first found out about it that they made him like a passable summon.
Yeah.
IG-11 starts them, and then he gives it to another team member who then can't attack because they're taking care of the baby. But so it's like a football you had to pass around.
This
I
is
like
how
that.
parents
Like hot
think
potato?
of
I like
Baby
that.
Yoda. We think of how much work it is.
Like if you gave Baby Yoda to somebody, they have to take care of the kid, so they can't like a self-inflicted ability block.
Yeah.
That's a great
But
description of having
Oh my
kids.
god.
I like it.
It didn't go.
Self-inflicted ability block.
It didn't go anywhere, but that was my
Yeah.
idea.
I like it.
That's clever.
Let's move on to the Discord corner
Yeah.
and start answering some fan questions.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait to whiff these.
Man.
We're not used to these. We don't have fans, so we can't have fan questions.
First one from Adam Matmata. Which characters should not be split up in 3v3?
Well, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna pass it off because I auto set my 3v3 today. So
Oof.
yeah.
Killer.
Purpose?
It's a little on purpose and a little bit of me forgetting.
Yeah.
Kind of a combo.
It's a lazy screw you to CG for making it 3v3.
3v3 is fine.
Or I'll participate in 2 days.
Just makes me use my brain.
Yeah, that's actually why I like it, is because it's
Mhm.
different. The characters work so different in a 3v3 that I like it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
My experience is that it's usually just big stick versus bigger stick. So,
Have you not played the rest of the game?
Yeah.
True, but like Queel is gonna lose a lot of his power in 3v3.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's why
Sure.
it makes different squads and characters better or worse. It's a
Mhm.
different thing.
It makes weird stuff work.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But I would say, if I may offer a couple, I think
Go for it.
characters that should not be split up. There's a lot. There's a lot of them that can. That
In that
normally in a
can,
five in a 5-on-5, I would say like Vader and Palpatine belong together, but in a 3v3, you can split that up.
Together forever.
So right, I'd say the ones that need to stay. I would go with the Sith Empire.
Yeah.
I like keeping all three of them together. The Revan Bastila Malik, that's just so incredibly nasty.
Good point.
That I think that's a good one to keep. Han and Chewie, pretty much
CLS on
always.
Chewie is a killer on 3v3.
I set Rey, Han, and Chewie this time around.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, I'm that guy.
Ooh,
We're gonna
maybe
try
I'll
it out.
copy you.
It's ugly. It's my first round opponent doesn't have a Galactic Legend, and I set that, and I just feel
Ooh.
Oh, you're mean.
yeah, I feel dirty.
I think I set mine too because I need every advantage I can get because I'm a bad player.
Who else? I think I like the Padme, Jedi Knight, Anakin, and General Kenobi. I think that's a solid 3 that I don't think I ever split them up.
Yeah, I definitely did. I'm a big fan of Dooku, Magna Guard, and another Separatist. I mean, just those two alone, plus like Newt or Droideka or somebody else,
Yeah,
just makes for a very irritating team for somebody to deal with. It's not good, but
Yeah, I love Droideka with that one.
Can be, yeah.
well, I mean, like it's not a killer.
Droideka is nasty because it's like one of those, you see it on the other side and you think, I have to deal with that. I absolutely have to deal with that. And then the damage immunity comes up and you realize you brought the wrong team and you cannot deal with it.
Well, and those of us who are going for Sith Eternal Emperor, like I have a relic 5 or 6 Dooku, right? So I mean, he's no joke.
Yeah, for sure. He
can hide behind
some
Magna Guard
variation
a
on
lot.
Yeah.
Between the auto taunt and then his
Daka and Zombie, obviously.
Yeah.
The two of them, I usually run a 1,000 lead for the extra potential to revive also.
Yes.
I love that.
I tried to set some weird ones just because I want to save as much as possible for offense. Let's see what I set this time. I did put my legend on defense. I put Slicker, Hux, and Crew, which is going to be fun. I'm a big fan of Kira, L3, and Van Jewy, because it's good on defense and bad on offense.
And because you have high relic ones.
Well, there is that.
My Gear 10 Kira just doesn't seem to last long.
I know.
I don't know what the problem could be.
It's probably mods.
Yes,
It's mods.
I should add them to her at some point.
I absolutely promise you
really.
that at least 2 teams from the 7 I set have at least a couple of mods missing because I'm so bad at keeping track of them. And I won't even know. I won't ever know.
So I think you guys mentioned all the good ones.
Yeah.
And then
I'm trying to think.
Surely that's not the case.
my main one was Han and Chewie.
Yeah.
Like
It's a good one.
any baked in this plus this character, like the new Queel in IG-11, those are the ones that can really shine in 3v3.
Yeah. I'd say Wedge and Biggs. I would never split them up, but I wouldn't always use them.
Right.
Either.
On Mothma, Wedge Biggs could be.
Yeah. I set that. I set
good.
Mon Mothma with Wedge and Biggs this time, and
That'd be good.
we'll see.
That'd be good.
Even then on defense, you put something like Mon Mothma and then Chase.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I like characters like Mon Mothma that start breathing life into these older characters that haven't seen any play in 2 years.
Yeah. That'd be good. That'd be good. Corbs asked, are there any known 3v3 counters to Galactic Legends from you guys. How good are the Geos in the current state of the game?
Geos have their place.
Yeah.
Not in 3v3.
No.
Right.
I think he means
I mean, they're
3v3.
always gonna have a place with the territory battle, right?
Mhm.
Outside of that,
I use them in Galactic or Grand Arena Champion. I use them relatively often.
yeah,
They're an amazing.
I think I set them
team.
as a backline
Mhm.
defense.
Well,
That's usually what I do with mine too.
there's a lot
I mean,
of
mine are
teams that
okay. I've got a relic on Alpha, and that's it.
if there's a team, usually if you take out one or two characters, you're reluctant to retreat because you want to keep the progress you've gotten, right? But you don't want to start over. But Geos are one of the few teams that can come into a damaged team and stay alive long enough to survive that initial barrage of turn meter loaded team to actually get some work done.
Yeah, because that bonus 35% health and protection that the lead gives, it doesn't give that until the start of the match. You could get them all to like 1 health with Atreya, like I've done before. You still die, you come back in, and they all start with plus 35%. So they're healed up that much.
That's true.
Yeah. I hate it when I botch Treya versus Geos.
Right?
Yeah.
I hate that so much. I was like, it was never going to be a clean win, but I just feel like an idiot.
Like, since when was Nihilus so fragile that
I know.
he dies right away?
I cannot tell you how many, like, I mean, chasing all these galactic legends and everything, you don't have the freedom to invest your resources where we previously could. But I can't tell you how many times I've played that match and thought I need to relic this team.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of losing this stupid matchup. I almost always win, but every time I don't, I feel like the biggest dunce.
Especially because I feel like I've done that too, and it's always on a team that you're like, you have 1 relic. How did this happen?
Right.
Like what went wrong here?
A Gear 11 General Grievous goes off on you, and you're like, what? Huh? No.
No.
Now, have you guys thought about, like, do either of you have Jedi Master Luke?
No, I've got
close?
Rey and he's got Kylo.
Okay.
I'm close-ish to having things done. It's really Mon Mothma and Chewie that are going to take a long time grinding those shards up. So
gotta grind that for a ball.
Got to.
I'm on the cusp. Well, on the cusp. I can taste that Emperor, which is terrible.
It's a bad taste. Yeah.
Zombie flesh.
Moldy.
That's about where I am. I am now 90 shards away from 7-star. What's his butt?
Le Petit Amiral.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay, so now what are you two gonna do when you see a Jedi Master Luke or a Sith Eternal Emperor set in 3v3?
So I mentioned my opponent doesn't have a Galactic Legend this round. If I see that, I'll probably save my Rey. 3v3, I don't even know how the counters are going to work, but I'm going to assume my Rey is going to be my way to beat it. Outside of that, like, I haven't worked on getting good with the counters, the non-Galactic Legend counters to Galactic Legends. Like, I know you can beat Rey without a Galactic Legend. I've read about it. I've seen a couple videos, but I don't do it. I usually just work around it. If they set a Rey and I set a Rey, I'm like, cool, I'll beat all your other teams. You'll beat all my other teams and we'll shake hands, you know?
Right.
I'm generally of the opinion that if I come across something that just looks too irritating in Grand Arena, I just don't.
You just wait 2 more days and fight a new opponent?
Yeah.
Like it runs constantly, right? There's always a Grand Arena. So if I look at it and I don't feel like messing with that. I just don't.
It's like
I'll play everything else and just see how it plays out.
I sometimes just, when I'm like drifting off to sleep, I'll play solitaire on my phone. And sometimes I just get a hand that I'm like, yeah, I could win that. I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing with Grand
Same
Arena.
thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see something like, you see that like Sith Empire team over there and a Galactic Legend team, and you're like, well, I'm beating one or the other. And I'm not going to fuss around with this all day trying to take them both out and get max banners on it. Like sometimes I'm just not feeling that, but
no, Sean saves his like 4-hour, headbanging session for, challenge tier 3
I'm telling you,
assault battles.
Man,
assault battles, man. I'm still on this train. They got to make those simmable. At least the first few tiers.
Not until I can sim General's Command.
You know what was one of the best ideas somebody at CG had was when they turned Galactic War into a, if you've beaten it, I think it's 50 times?
40 times or 50 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you can sim it.
Yeah.
Add that to so many other things, especially assault battles.
That was a carry thing. There was a big quality of life update at that point where that happened, where you could sim multiple challenges at once.
Yes.
There was a lot of stuff that happened, and we've only had 1 or 2 big QOL.
Remember that was based on the teams that you go up against. I believe it still is. The teams that you go up against in Galactic War was based on like other people around your power level, their current arena team.
Yeah.
And like, can you imagine how obnoxious that would be if you had like 4 or 5 fights in a row that were Galactic Legends?
Yeah,
like,
especially now with like the hyperdrive bundle and stuff.
Yeah, forget it. And your team's shredded after 1 match with a Galactic Legend, so good luck. You're done.
And that's why you can sim it, or at least I can.
Yeah. And I remember right before they gave that sim option was, I think, when Jedi Revan was dominating the game.
And it's been that recently, has it?
Has it?
Jedi Revan was like 3 years ago.
My idea of scale right now is
I can't remember any, but I know that there were players who would get to the last 2 or 3 nodes of Galactic War, early players, like level 40, 50, and then would go up against Gear 8 Baby Whales Jedi Knight Revan and be like, well, why do I even play this game anymore?
And then you're never going to beat it 50 times,
Yeah, like, exactly.
That's a sad thought.
Yeah.
not for me.
Right.
Yeah,
that sounds terrible.
But they also did the thing right around the same time where they made it super easy too, right? Like they changed the matchmaking so it was a lot easier.
Yeah,
I think so.
Because people were mad about that because like I want to try it against the hardest stuff, and then you couldn't.
Yeah, because now it's not based on current arena. Because now, people with a Galactic Legend go through, and it's still Gear 8, Gear 9 people.
If I recall correctly, they set a cap on the highest power that a team could even be, though.
Oh.
And like now, if that was a couple of years ago, like I forget it, way beyond
nothing.
anything that could be challenging. And I don't know if that's still the case with that.
I doubt they've touched it. If that's what it was, that's what it is.
Well, here's what I can tell you, is I know for a fact there are people at Capital Games who are looking at the early game experience.
Yeah.
What that ends up being, who knows? If anything comes of it, I don't know. None of us will live to see it. So.
Yeah. Copman3 and Lagaholic asked, which character not currently in game under any iteration would you want to see added?
Maz Kanata.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
I've wanted her in game for so long.
What would she do?
I don't even know. She would do something with Chewie though.
She would like squeak, open them up in those really tiny eyes. She'd get a buff when she's on the same team as Chewie.
Obviously,
her boyfriend.
Was it Last Jedi where they communicate with her and she's like flying around in a jetpack, blasting the hell out of something? Yeah. I feel like that. Okay, I'd be fine with that.
I clearly blocked that.
They don't show it. It's just on the holo projector when they're talking to her.
I remember that now.
Yeah.
The one I want
to find the code breaker.
The one I want that I think is a very likely addition is Jabba.
Yeah. He came to mind for sure.
We need Jabba, and he
What
doesn't.
would he do?
Oh,
You know,
Maybe a scoundrel leader who would direct the goons. I mean, that's
yeah, like he
Like-
could have a summon, or he could be a non-attacking person that gets people to do stuff for him.
yeah. He summons a general goon, dark side scoundrel.
yeah.
I could see it.
Hmm.
And the only thing is,
I
I
mean-
think that since they just did the whole Return of the Jedi thing, you'd think they would have done it then if they were going to.
Yeah,
I mean, I could see the tech, like the way that Sith Eternal Emperor takes up a third of the screen. You could make something like that work with Jabba,
Sean,
right?
I've seen the special edition of New Hope. Jabba's not very big sometimes.
No, he's a wonderful human being.
When convenient.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think mine has got to be, and I've been firm on this for a long time, is Dr. Afra.
Mm.
oh yeah,
Who, if you don't
From the
read
comic
the
books.
comics, yeah,
Wow.
she started out in the Darth Vader comics a couple of years back. She's an amazing character. She'd be a great scoundrel. She has a couple of droid buddies, which would be hilarious. And that's what I want. It'll never happen, but
I'm going with Hondo.
Ooh.
I want Hondo.
That's a good
I
one.
want
Hondo's
Hondo
good.
bad.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
don't we all,
Um,
Sean?
younger,
mean,
younger or older?
I think probably younger, but I'd be happy with
How
either.
can you tell?
Mhm.
The
Rebels
amount
one,
of detail, like the quality of the animation, I suppose.
Yeah, I like the Clone Wars much better.
Yeah.
Rebels one he did not age well.
Mm-mm.
Well, it was a very smooth animation style.
Yeah,
Mhm.
But then he'd have his little buddy. Squeal. What's the actual name? I don't remember now.
Oh. I don't remember.
Oh, I see in chat,
Squelch,
Mitra Surik.
or-
That's a good choice.
Mm.
I think more video game characters like Cal Kestis from Fallen Order would be good.
Mhm.
Iden Versio. I'm kind of surprised that neither of them made it in, as EA has had the Star Wars license this
Right?
whole time. That
Right?
when a new Star Wars
Yeah.
game comes out, come on, man, look,
I
Hop 'em in
definitely
Galaxy of
want
Heroes.
more Coder 2 characters. Like I said, Mitra Surik, the Exile. What's his name? The Pure Pazak guy. I can't remember his name.
oh yes,
yeah.
Pure
Yeah, the
Possession.
Handmaiden, Bowdor. There's a lot of cool characters from Coder 2.
Yeah.
But there's only so much time in the day.
Mhm.
If you could add from Porg, if you could add one brand new game mode, what
From
would it
Porg.
be? Yeah,
Well,
Porg.
speaking of porgs, they might be involved. One new game. I mean, obviously, like a sandbox, people talk about that, but I'm wanting
Mhm.
that less and less as there's so much to do in the game
Right.
that
Yeah.
I would still see a benefit personally to it, but I'm not dying for it like I was. I think I mean, a new raid would be cool. That's not a new mode, but some kind of new raid.
Mhm.
People have speculated about a ship raid for a long time. I think that could be a cool reason for people to care about ships, because we don't that much,
At all.
At
Zero.
all.
0%.
I maxed out a negotiator fleet and just I
And
do
I-
an auto
And I
battle
can hang
a
out
day.
until
That's about it,
Doomsday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is the general consensus with it.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite
Mhm.
character is General Consensus.
Just give us a ship raid.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need more. The problem is we need more ships. Like you can't. The whole ship side of the game is so stale, and they've made passable attempts
Once a year.
half-heartedly. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, pilotless ships. We're going to use this to push more ships so you can have more interesting things. You don't need a character to back it up. And then we got like 3.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard anything for 8 months.
And then they're like, I don't see why we're not making much money off ships as other characters. Well, you only released 3 for the whole year or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean-
also when you release 2 new capital ships and they're both just
Meh.
awful,
Garbage
Which
that's
makes me
not
sad.
inspiring.
with no
You know.
support ships released at the same time.
The tank for
Right?
Iron.
Last Jedi introduced us to
Mhm.
the Resistance bomber.
I was just gonna say
Give
that.
me that,
With
and
Rose
maybe
as the
I'll
pilot.
care. You
Yeah, with
know,
Rose as the pilot, you'd have
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
I mean,
Then she'd
Obviously,
be
that
kind
would
of
be-
useful.
yeah, yep.
No.
All these relic roses would mean
Right?
something.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything that I really want in the game, but maybe that's because I interacted with it in such a weird way compared to a lot of people. Raids are fun for like until you figure it out, right? Once you got a raid on farm, it's not really fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then it's a duty.
Yeah.
That's why I just tag a 0.
Yeah, I don't really do anything. I haven't actually actively participated in a raid, and I don't even know when.
Yeah.
Live PvP is something people bring up, but I've experienced it in other games, and it's painful.
Yeah,
It's very painful.
Because then those dum-dums will sit there
Sorcerer's
for
Arena.
They'll sit there and
Yeah.
let their turn time out, and you're just standing there seeing it's infuriating.
Yeah.
I don't know, a new game mode?
Not a mode, but I would love ship loadouts.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would
be
be
See, but that's a whole different
huge.
game though at that point. Like I would love that. Like I would love like if they did like a companion game, like a side scrolling or like a turn-based RPG where you actually build a team and take it through a game. But
I mean like tabs where you can save your fleets.
Oh,
Yeah, I want that.
I thought you meant like loading your ships out with different stuff.
Oh.
I'm like, that sounds amazing.
Sure. Yeah.
I probably just play too much Squadrons when that's what a loadout is.
Weren't ships supposed to have like hardware or something on them?
That was replaced by reinforcement stuff, but yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is the game. How to put this? The game was made by people who are not the same people who make it now.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff that was put into this game originally that's baked into the game itself. That is not how it grew up, and not how the people who actually make it now would want it to function.
But in that situation, you can't cancel ships.
Right.
I don't know if ships is one of those necessarily.
Ships is an interesting, because I think about that sometimes. Like, what would I do? I wouldn't have done ships like that, but they're here. So what do I do now?
It's 2020, baby. Ships are canceled.
Right.
Now the people that do work on the game now, they did a great job with the separatist ships. Like I
love those.
Yeah, General Grievous capital ship. I think that is a perfect kit. That is a perfect way to interact with droid ships, and makes perfect sense with Grievous just throwing droids without a care. So that's why he's able to summon them in the game, and just these weak little droids. Like they did so well with that. I think they also did well with the Negotiator. So they've done good with ships since this new team is working on it. We just need to give us more and give us a raid so that you care about building up ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think back to the Resistance bomber. The reason I mentioned that is almost every fleet that comes out is synergies are Houndstooth and some other things.
Yeah.
And like
Houndstooth is the Kenobi of ships.
Let's just clone Houndstooth, put like 5 of them in the game and call them different things. Okay, cool. Then we can actually have some fun with multiple fleets. But at this point, they keep trying these different tanks, like the Rebel Y-Wing and the Resistance Y-Wing, and they're both good. But like, you still want Houndstooth.
The TIE Bomber, man, come on.
And the TIE Bomber, sure.
Don't forget about the
if you're, into that.
Pico Burrito asked, wave a magic wand and make one character on your roster Relic 7. Who is it?
Ooh. I gotta look at my roster.
It's too late for my current Galactic Legend chase, so I'm not going to cheat and do one of those.
Mine would be instantly having Rose. That way.
What?
Yes.
That way, I never have to actually take hard-earned gear and invest it in her.
But it strikes fear into the heart of anyone who would look at your roster, you know?
Yeah.
Seeing something like,
I would do Old Daka. Because I use my Night Sister.
Sounds like a sensible answer.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm sorry. I will say Rose as well then.
No, don't change it. Don't change it because of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I just want her beefier.
I've got a few. I think some are not like that exciting, like Malik, maybe, because I have a Relic 5 Malik and I just don't want to do it. I know it's 2 levels, but
it's only like 5,000 health.
I've only got
it's not worth
so
Yeah.
much I can do. Maybe Jolie.
Oh. Okay.
My Jolie is only gear 12.
Mhm.
That'd be a thing that I wouldn't have to do.
I would have to spend it on a dumb character. Like, I would have to. Like my mob enforcer or something stupid like that.
Yeah. Jawa engineer.
Yeah.
That's what's fitting on that Queel team.
Yeah.
Jawa engineer.
Or.
Darman Scarata asks, do you think Filoni and Favreau, the producers of The Mandalorian, dipping into the expanded universe, will bring any characters that aren't considered canon into the game? Will Disney be open to that? So I guess will they add them to the show, which then lets people bring them into the game?
I think that whoever at this point how successful Mandalorian was, if Filoni and Favreau come to them and say, we want to bring Mara Jade back, they'll do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it could happen. I'm trying to think, like, as far as not being canon popping into the game, there's all the KOTOR stuff. So, like, that barrier is broken, and so that potential is there. It's just pulling those characters into canon in some way, which, perfect example, Thrawn. Thrawn was not a part of canon for years until he popped into Star Wars Rebels.
Right.
And then suddenly, he's a big deal, and he's in the game, and he's got a new line of books and all that. So yeah, certainly. I think anyone would be possible. Well, I shouldn't say anyone, but someone would be possible.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, that's each of our segments besides our rank and file, where we go over the latest shakeups into the meta, and then and then Uncle Owen's Moisture Farm, where we talk about who and what we're currently farming in game. So quick look at the meta report and with the Galactic War report, guys.
Every time we talk about the meta report, I don't know if this is stupid. Well, I know this is stupid. Every time I talk about that, and I think I told John this, there's a kids show called Octonauts where they do
meta report.
Meta report. I don't know why we haven't recorded us singing it. Well, apparently now we have.
Now you have.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So the meta report, I think, is same as last time, with hardly any Sith Eternal Emperors, mostly Jedi Knight Revan-led Jedi teams with Jedi Master Luke. Those are the changes creeping up. But
nothing.
Yeah. Most players are still light years away from getting the new Galactic Legend. We won't see changes for a while. On to Uncle Owen's Moisture Farm. I always say that weird. It's hard to say Uncle Owen. I was like Uncle Owen's Moisture Farm. To talk about
Uncle Owen.
Uncle Owen's Moisture Farm. Talk about who and what we are currently farming in game, because everyone knows work comes before going to Tashi Station to pick up power converters. I'll start this off. Similar to you, John, I am working on Sith Eternal Emperor. I think I'm making good progress, where I need 88 shards of Piet. I've already stockpiled for his Gear 12, and I think relic materials. I am not worrying about Sith Eternal's junk until I'm starting to get the tickets for it.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Should never be a
Nothing funny was
concern.
said.
But, and then without refreshing or anything, I've naturally almost got the original Mando characters they released up to 7-star. Like,
Nice.
41 out of 100 for Grief, 19 out of 100 for Mandalorian, 29 out of 100 for Kara. So I'm not too worried about being behind with those guys, at least, for any new Mandalorian legendary.
Sure.
John, do you want to?
I do actually have to dip out.
Yeah.
Though. I'm getting some.
He's working on some dumb stuff. You don't want to hear about it. It's...
No, nothing good. I mean, tune in on Friday, Galactic War Report, to hear the full story.
Yeah, shameless plug.
I do have to. I hate scooting out early, but I do have to
go for it, man.
No
Thank
worries.
you so
do it.
much for joining.
My pleasure. Thanks again.
Now that John's gone.
Let me tell you about what John's working on. He's working on his Sith Eternal stuff. He's laser focused on it right now. I'm similarly focused on the Jedi Master Luke stuff. Currently, I just got old Ben to Relic finally. Just took him to Relic 1 because I'm still getting Jedi Knight Luke up to Relic 7. And that is one of my least favorite things to do to a character. He's at Relic 6, so super close. Still working. Wedge, Biggs, and Leia are all gear 12, so they're on deck. And then 3PO and Chewie and Mon Mothma are both 5 stars, well on their way to 6. So it's, I've said on our show before, I'm working toward this legend, but in the meantime, I've got a solid Rey team in Arena. I don't feel the rush that I have to get this as quickly as I did that first Galactic Legend. So we're getting there. And when I finally get him and get him all geared and reliced and everything, another batch will be out and Luke will be terrible, is my guess.
And you'll just switch to the new batch.
Yeah. Although honestly, in retrospect, I look at I'm glad I'm gonna have Luke, but I can't help but think what if I would have just gone for Kylo right now?
Right.
Because I feel like that overall, of course we had no way of knowing, but overall is probably would have been more useful to me. If nothing else for that Sith raid.
I have a friend in game who did that. He looked at the kits and he was originally going to go for Luke, and then he was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for Kylo, and completely switched it.
Yeah. If
For
I wasn't so close, I probably would. But
they're
I'm
all
so far away
similar
from Kylo.
in power, but the Kylo with his superiority in the raid, I think usefulness is better as far as all 4 Galactic Legends go.
Yeah. And that would force me to work on my First Order, which is smart. My First Order is bad. So, that gets you some more, not just the Sith raid, but gets you another team that's just going to wipe up a lot of modes. So,
I'm in the same boat as you. I'm going after Luke, so I am gearing all of the characters. You're ahead of me. I'm not even in Relic territory. I'm still taking them up to gear 12, and it is so painful. All of the stun guns.
Lots of stun guns. Yes.
So many stun guns. It's awful.
And the Cairo is just never ending. You can go on GG and kind of do some estimates of, I have a friend who keeps spreadsheets of what day he expects to accomplish this goal and all that. Awesome. Cool. I don't like to do that because if I look at the numbers, it's going to deter me. When I see that I need 800 more Cairo, What? Why am I doing this? So yeah, this has been a much smoother Galactic Legend grind than the Ray one was for me.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts? I think that's it.
Yeah. Just please let's get Hondo in this game.
Yeah.
That's my big push now.
Yeah.
No, I'm in a pretty good place right now where I feel like I've achieved a few things. Like I said, I got Jedi Knight Luke up to Relic 6, so I'm starting to play with him in Arena.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going pretty well there. I like the stuff I'm seeing with Quill and IG 11. There's so many IGs. So like, yeah, I'm just overall in a very peaceful place with the game that I'm having fun with it. So,
well, good. Thank you, Sean John, for joining us. They are of the Galactic War Report, which, if you haven't heard of, they do a show. How often?
Weekly.
Every week.
Weekly.
Yep. Occasionally we'll do a bonus episode, but
it's
usually weekly.
On their own Galactic War Report website.
Mm-hmm.
So you just Google it and you'll see it. Very cool. I really like the... Is that a Tuscan sound at the start of each episode?
It sort of. So it was. We're doing, and this is something we always, or not always, but we have talked about at the top of our episodes for the last few months, that we're doing a rebranding, so to speak, because we're Galactic War Report, which is a podcast that was born out of the Radio Free Tatooine podcasting network. Radio Free Tatooine was our old Star Wars podcast that does not exist anymore. The name is like meaningless. So it's almost like we just scrapped it all. We're just Galactic War Report. But that was on the Radio Free Tatooine intro that was at the start of our episodes that is no longer there. That's a really long answer. So I could have just said, yeah. But I'm a podcaster, so I don't just say yeah.
That's right. Got to fill up that hour and a half of our show.
Exactly. Got a job to do.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Thank you. I'm going to call you guys Sean John, just duo combination.
That's fair. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
That ought to do it for this episode. Until next time, Chewie, we're home.